Hello there, welcome back. I know it's been a while. And advanced Bazaar flipping tutorial, guide, whatnot, whatever you want to call it. Quick disclaimer, this is definitely not going to be a very entertaining video because it's just like 8 minutes of looking at a graph, but it should be very, very helpful, I at least hope. So yeah, enjoy. The first very important thing about the Bazaar is that it has two different modes, direct and advanced. You can find them by going to the bottom right, clicking Bazaar settings, going up a little bit, and you can change between direct mode and advanced by clicking. While in direct mode, it'll just show you the buy price and the sell price of an item. While in advanced mode, it'll also show you the buy price and sell price again, but also how many insta buys are happening and how many insta sells are happening. Now we're going to get into the more complex Bazaar tools, which is graphs. We'll go over each graph in much more detail soon, but these are just the very basic definitions. There are four different types of graphs. On the far left, we have the price graphs, which will tell you if the current price is higher or lower than the average price. The next set of graphs are the order/offer volume graphs. These graphs show how many people have buy orders and sell offers, or in other words, it shows how competitive the market is. The third set of graphs are the instant sell/buy volumes. These graphs show how many people are filling buy orders and sell orders, or in simpler terms, how fast orders and offers fill. The final set of graphs are the moving coins graph, which shows how many coins are being put into the specific market, or in other words, how valuable or lucrative the market is. The first graph we're going to take a look at is the buy price. This is the price at which buy orders have been filled, which correlates directly to the sell price of the item. So in order to help visualize an average price for this, we're going to use a line of best fit, which eventually you'll get better at just visualizing by looking at more graphs. However, it's just a simple line that tries to get as many of the points onto the graph as possible. With any graph, you will have outliers. That's just how Skyblock works. And these are prices that are either below the line of best fit by a significant margin, or perhaps even above by a significant margin. And by looking at all this stuff, we can determine that the average price for sludge juice is around 1.2 thousand coins. So that means if we were to get our sludge juice for 1,000 coins, we are making a lot more profit. However, if it was 1.4, we don't want to buy at that point. We're going to be looking at the sell price graph next, which is the price at which sell offers have been filled, which directly correlates to the instant buy price. The line of best fit for this graph is much easier to visualize as the graph itself is a line. However, that's usually not the case. But what we can tell from this graph is that there are a few outliers. However, the graph stays mostly true to the 1.4-ish to 1.5k price, which means that that is the average sell price. So as long as we're getting our sludge juice for cheaper than that, we will be making a profit using sell offers. We're going to be taking a look at the buy orders volume graph next, which is the total volume of buy orders, but this is in amount of items, not amount of buy orders. So if one single person were to make a buy order for 10,000, it would increase by 10,000, not by 1 for the one order made. This graph will be having a much weirder line of best fit. It's going to be curved, and that is just because there are so many more outliers, and this graph has a very weak correlation. Because this graph displays how many items are in buy orders, we can assume that at the low points of the graph, there's going to be much less competition, and at the high points, there's going to be a lot more. So if we were to continue this graph as it's on the upward trend, we can assume that maybe in 1 or 2 more days, the competition for sludge juice will be much more extreme. Next, we're going to be taking a look at the sell offers volume, which is the total volume of sell offers. This is the amount in sell offers, not the amount of sell offers. So the same 10,000 in one offer example works here. Now, this graph will also be very difficult to have a line of best fit drawn on it because of this big jump in the middle. However, we can technically use a straight line as we'll have roughly the same amount of points above the line and below. However, we can also technically make a sinusoidal line of best fit, which would look something like this. Now, the only requirement for a line of best fit is that it has to be consistent. You cannot just have random jumps and say, oh, that's what it's going to look like every single time. Even though we have a pretty accurate line of best fit, we're still going to have some outliers. Like at the very top here, we have a lot more sell offers, which means a very high competition about 4 days ago. However, only 2 days ago, there was very, very low competition, where almost no one was selling sludge juice. So we can predict that in the graph time, maybe in another 2 days, we'll have very low amounts of competition, which means our sell offers will fill much sooner. The next graph we're going to be looking at is the instant sell volume, which is the quantity of items which have been instantly sold. A line of best fit for this graph is incredibly difficult. As a straight line, it works okay because it still has a rough amount, very small, but the correlation is very weak. If we were to try the same sinusoidal line though, we could get better results. However, it would not be a function or a line of best fit because it has inconsistent jumps and it's not the same recurring line. However, what we can do after making our line, we can see that there are still some points here that are like much more outlying than other points. So instead, what we can do is make a much more thick line of best fit kind of thing, or a little zone that we consider the best fit. This zone more encompasses what we consider the average, so it removes some of the outliers. What we're going to consider is roughly the 44,000 to 124,000 range, as that encompasses most of our points. The next graph we're going to be looking at is the instant buy volume, which is the quantity of items which have been instantly bought. Once again, our line of best fit here, we could try and make a squiggly sinusoidal one, but it wouldn't really work too well. So we're going to use the same little thick line or zone technique. Using this zone, we're able to interpret what the average would be, which is around 34-ish K to around maybe 60. We still will have outliers, of course, but we're kind of excluding these because they happen very rarely. One important thing to note is that our average on the instant buy volume is around 40,000, while our average on the instant sell volume was around 80,000, meaning our sludge juice buy orders will fill about twice as fast than our sell offers. Next up is the instant sell moving coins, which is the total coins gained from instantly selling, which is important because this is basically how large the market is. One thing we can do is skip over our line of best fit and just immediately draw our zone, which is around 40 million coins to 120 million coins. Now this is important because, once again, knowing our market size, we have about 80 million coins difference between this, which means that, let's say you have around 10 million coins and you are planning to enter into the sludge juice market. With 10 million coins, because we consume the markets around 125 million, you'd only be able to get around 8 to 9% of it with that 10 million, and you'd soon run out. However, let's say you had around 100 million or 120, you'd be able to get a lot more sludge juice than the person with 10, obviously, because you have more. The next graph is the instant buy moving coins, which is the total coins spent on instantly buying items. Once again, we can skip over our line of best fit and just create a zone that we think most of the points will be in. For this one, I decided around maybe 25 mil to up to around 60-ish will be the zone we're working in. Of course, we still have our outliers, which aren't too important. Now, once again, let's say you have around 20 mil worth of sludge juice that you just got from a buy order. That means you would own about maybe 20-ish% or third of the total sludge juice that is available to be bought, which is a very good number. However, let's say you spent 100 mil on sludge juice and you have all of that to sell. If you refresh your order soon enough and fast enough, you are basically the entire market for sludge juice. One thing you have to be very careful about is that the scale goes up to 73 million coins, which is the total amount that you could get in a sell order, which means that, let's say hypothetically you spent 120 mil, that means you'll have about 50 mil left worth of sludge juice that you haven't been able to sell. That will take you more than a day to sell. Thank you so much for watching. That's all I have for today. Hope you found it at least a little bit informative. And if there's any other things you want me to cover, or if I missed anything, please just let me know in the comments.